I recently survived my worst manifestation, and in this video, I'm going to tell you how. Hi friends, Kathleen Cameron here, Chief Wealth Creator and founder of Diamond Academy. We specialize in manifestation, law of attraction, and self-love for impact-driven entrepreneurs. Thank you for tuning in, and if you haven't done so, please click the bell and subscribe so you can get updates of new content to come throughout the week. So this video is a special video because I'm going to share with you one of my favorite evenings. And this evening was a one night only interview session where I talked about my recent life-saving surgery, how I manifested it, and how I survived it. So you will see that in this video, I get quite vulnerable and quite honest about how manifestations are always happening. And sometimes they create things in your 3D world that you really don't want. And this is why understanding yourself, your feelings, and your emotions are so important. So have a listen, and hopefully you learn something to keep this sort of thing from happening to you.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to Now or Never. My name is Tommy Collier. I am the Chief Creative Officer here at Diamond Academy, and I am going to be your host tonight. We're going to do this a little casual, a little interview style tonight. So we're going to just get started in just a second here. So I just want to actually pull this picture back up really quick because this picture was taken just a couple of weeks ago, and it was during our retreat, which you're going to hear about in Kathleen's story tonight. But we had no idea that we would take this picture and that Kathleen would be, possibly even leaving this world in a couple of days after this photo was taken. So I want to encourage you, if you don't already, I want you to go get some tissues because this might be a little bit of an emotional evening tonight together. So give us a little grace, give Kathleen some grace in case some emotions come up tonight. So Kathleen, my dear, are you here?
I'm here.
Okay. I'm going to get us spotlit here, so you might have to switch back to your gallery view. How are you feeling? Okay, see what I said? Maybe get some some tissues. It's been a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sorry, when you talked about the picture being taken, that set me over the edge.
Sorry. Yeah.
No, it's okay.
I was just thinking that as I was listening to that last song. It's like, holy crap.
Because you never know what's going on or what's going to happen, and you think everything's just fine.
Yep.
It's not just fine. You have to really listen to your body. But no, this has been a very, very emotional experience for me. And I feel so much love from all of you on here tonight. I can see faces. So put your camera on. Listen, I'm on here telling my story, crying in front of you all. You can put your video on. Say hello so I can see your face. I'm just going to switch my view so I can see everybody.
Yeah. Hey, while you're doing that, will you quit out of Teams? Because I hear it beeping back there.
Well, I did.
It's okay. Maybe it was on your phone.
Yeah, hold on. No, it's mine.
Okay.
He knows what the beeping is. No, I'm so grateful that you guys are all here to listen, and it was just a lot easier for us to come on and share and talk about it instead of telling it kind of multiple different times. And I had a Zoom with all of my students in the Millionaire program last week. So we got to get some of it out of the way. And it was really, really good. But it's been another week and I've had so much more learning that I'm going to share with you all. And we'll talk about, Tommy's going to ask me questions, so I'm not sure where he's going, but we will talk about kind of what happened with my health and how did this happen?
Yeah.
And I'm not going to give you the medical answer. because we know that it's not the medical answer. It's actually our own thinking, our own consciousness, and how this ended up like this. Somebody who, studies a lot. How could something like this happen? And then where do we go from here? So what are our plans? What are my plans? What are my, I'm excited. I'm so excited. I'm actually like not being able to sleep right now because I'm so excited. So anyway, we have a lot to talk about, but I'm just grateful to be here and to share. And this might bring up a few things in you if you've experienced any sort of similar type of traumas. And I see traumas in a way where, it wasn't fun. So it might bring that up for you, but hopefully you can see how I'm rising up out of it.
Yeah.
And that can inspire you. I'm seeing some names on here I haven't seen in such a long time. It is so good to see all your faces. This is so lovely. Okay, Tommy.
Well, I thought maybe just let's start it in kind of a lighter place. And for those who are here who have never been on Zoom with you, or maybe don't know kind of your story, what, has led you to, the success that you've created, maybe we can start there. Just kind of not a long story, but just, what do you do and what's your background here?
Beautiful. Well, my background is as a registered nurse. So I have always had this feeling like I wanted to help people. I've always been very, very caring and loving, and I have a huge heart, and I've been a very sensitive woman, and I wanted to use all of that in a way that really made a difference. And nursing for me was the way to do that. But after, 3 degrees later and 11 years of working in healthcare, I was tired, uninspired, and just feeling like I felt like there was more. There was more for me to be doing and that I could make a bigger impact. And I was trying to find that in nursing. I kept getting promotion after promotion. And I kept saying, I want to help more people. I want to do more. There has to be a way that we can make a bigger impact. And I found entrepreneurship and online sales. And I thought, okay, this might be the vehicle. And that got me into personal growth and development. And so I started to study myself. So I'm not talking about professional development. So I did a lot of schooling, took a lot of trainings. I really, really worked on my craft in terms of nursing and leadership. But I mean personal development, going within and asking myself, who am I? What do I want out of life? What kind of experience do I want to have here? And when I started to do that, I met a beautiful man who taught me so much. And I learned about law of attraction and the power of the mind and manifestation. Mr. Bob Proctor, who just taught us so much incredible stuff anyways. And after I started learning from him, I wanted to teach it. I wanted to help people with this material. It changed my life so much, so fast. So many things were shifting. I started to love myself for the first time in my life without having to go on a diet and lose weight to do it. Pretty powerful. And just the belief that I had in myself, I felt like I could change the world. I still believe that right now. But after starting to study myself, I started to see that I could impact people in a bigger way and that I was made for more. And I was here to do big things. And so I launched my coaching business first with him in January of 2020. And like Tommy said, in 7 months, I made my first $1 million that year, 3.3. Last year, we did 12 million. So Diamond Academy, I don't even know where we're at, but it's multi millions. And the dollar amount is just a reflection of the impact that we have made on this world and how many people we've been able to help through courses, programs, masterminds, live events, online live events. We haven't done an in-person live event yet. But anyways, so it's been a wild ride, and it got to a point where I was going for my very first retreat, something that was in my first goal image when I started this business. I wanted to run retreats in luxurious places and help people to work on themselves in person. And that leads us up to the Bahamas, where it was all coming together beautifully. We were days away. from the Bahamas, and things shifted pretty quickly.
Yeah. So maybe let's just back up maybe a couple of months. So how have things been going this year, and what was, going on leading up to the Bahamas?
There's a lot of things that have happened this year. I think we've gotten to a place where, in terms of how I see myself and Diamond Academy and what we want to do, we're solidifying our mission and the impact that we want to make and the way we want to show up in this world. And people will leave your life when you start asking for more. And so we had some big changes within Diamond Academy all at one time. And it was shocking at the time, but it was truly what was meant to happen. And I see that now. But it was uncomfortable. I'll say that it was uncomfortable, would be a good way to put it. But leading up to that, we've had so much incredible growth in so many other areas. I hope that's what you were looking for. I don't know.
Yeah, no. Well, and you've been keeping up quite the schedule.
Oh, yes. Yeah. When you are a woman that really believes in herself, and you make a decision that you're going to go all in with things, and you're ready to rise to that next level and do more and bigger things, it all unfolds for you, and it unfolds for you in a beautiful way, but it can be a lot at one time. And so there was a lot of requests for me to travel to different places, a lot of different media requests, things like being a guest speaker on The Doctors, and going to New York City and having lunch with record executives at Universal Records to talk about manifestation and coaching, all kinds of beautiful things. But it was a lot of travel. It was a lot of trips. I've been to a lot of places this year already, and it was so fun, and I loved it all. But I wasn't necessarily resting my vessel as much as I could. Yeah.
So when did you realize maybe something is not quite right?
Well, it was so interesting because I went to New York City and I got home, and we had a beautiful Diamond Academy lunch where we surprised a bunch of students that are in the Millionaire program. And I went to that lunch and I was feeling amazing. And I got to meet so many incredible souls, and the connection was beautiful. I see Tanya right off the hop, sitting there smiling at me. And on the drive home, I said, I feel like my throat's a bit sore. And that turned into, stuffy nose, a cough, and then my voice was completely gone. So I had to go completely silent. I remember coming onto Zoom and I'm like, I can't talk. I can only type. And it truly just thought it was a cold. Took COVID test. No, not COVID. And I was like, okay. And then I was going to Texas on the Tuesday. So this was like Sunday night, and I couldn't stop sleeping. I was so tired, and I had one day to get ready. And I woke up Monday morning, Tommy, and I was like, it was women's self-care. It was like, okay, lashes, nails, pack for Texas. And I did all of that, and I felt amazing. I was like, I feel great. I feel like $1 million. But then Tuesday morning, I woke up in the morning and it was like, what do? I couldn't even open my eyes, barely. But I went anyways.
Yeah.
I went to Texas anyways. Yeah.
Then what happened in Texas? Not a lot.
Not a lot. So I was supposed to meet Tommy in Texas because we were going to a conference, and I was going to have a VIP day. I was going to spend a day with one of my VIP clients. I don't know if she's on here, but we were going to spend the day together, go to spa, go to lunch, and all these beautiful things. So I had all these plans. And I got to Texas and I went into my hotel room and I laid directly on the bed, and I did not unpack a single thing or open my bag for 36 hours. Didn't even touch it. I had a cell phone charger and a cell phone. And I remember Tommy ordered me Uber medicine, NyQuil, DayQuil, a whole bunch of amazing things. And I was in Texas and I never left my hotel. I literally was in a hotel the entire time. I didn't make it to see my one-on-one client. I didn't get to see Tommy at all while we were there. I actually called and had a nurse practitioner come and see me who thought that I might have pneumonia. And she didn't want to prescribe me antibiotics, anybody who's in the medical profession, because you can get a resistance to them if they're overused. So they didn't want to prescribe. So she said, call me in 2 days if it hasn't gone away, and then I'll prescribe it. So of course, called her in 2 days, and I was even worse. And it was interesting, Tommy, because I had, things like shortness of breath, cough, all those types of things. But on my entire right side of my back, spanning all the way from right here down my back, was excruciating pain. I couldn't lay on it. I couldn't take deep breaths. And it felt like just muscle spasms. And then I actually had my dad come to Texas with me. My dad flew to Texas to come and get me and take me to Florida. That's where my whole family was. They were in Florida. And
just to interrupt, because this is this was happening all this 1 week. Yeah. And then the very next week on Tuesday,
Bahamas
is where Bahamas begins. Yeah. So it was like, yeah, we're just sitting there going like, okay, she'll feel fine by tomorrow.
I was like, I'll be okay by Bahamas.
Good night's sleep.
Yeah.
Tonight. She'll be fine by tomorrow. A little NyQuil,
No problem.
And it just kept getting worse.
It just kept getting worse. So yeah, my dad flew me to Florida because I couldn't pack my bags. I could barely get dressed. So he flew with me to Florida. I get to Florida, and I think it was within 2 days I ended up being admitted to hospital in Florida. And they took a look at the chest x-rays, and they were like, yeah, you've got bilateral pneumonia and you have pleural effusion, which is fluid in the pleural space. No, not a pleural embolism. They did not, but a pleural effusion. Yes, Maura. So they at first thought maybe I had a blood clot in my lungs. So that was good to see that wasn't what was happening. But I definitely had fluid in between. It was in the pleural space, which is in between the lung and the outer cavity. So it had gone outside of the lungs now. It was no longer still just in the lung. It had gone outside of the lung. And so they admitted me to hospital, and I spent 2 days in hospital and was supposed to be in Bahamas. Mm-hmm. So I'm watching on my stories, everybody arriving. I'm going to get emotional. Everybody arriving to Bahamas, so excited to spend 4 days with me learning and growing. And I'm in a hospital bed, hooked up to IVs on all this medication, and just like, how am I going to get there? And how am I going to be able to do this? And I remember I said to Tommy, you're going to have to do it. Like, you're going to have to do tomorrow, like the first day. I was like, Tommy, you're going to have to run the first session. And like the calmness and the ease and the knowing I had in having Tommy there, I have to say was such an absolute blessing, because I don't know what we would have done without you there. But Tommy took what I was going to teach, and he did it in his way. And, some of you are on here, I can see it. He did a phenomenal job. So thank you, Tommy. I'm grateful for you.
Likewise.
Yeah.
So we're sitting there going like, is she going to get here at all? Like, is it even safe for her to fly? So what next?
So I ended up getting pretty rough with the medical staff in the hospital. And I got them to allow me out. And, they didn't want to let me out, but I just felt like, you should let me out. I'm on medication. I can take the medication. They wanted to drain the pleural effusion. So they wanted to it's just a little needle where they aspirate and drain. It's not even a real surgical procedure. It's just a little thing. And they were going to do that. They got me all ready to go. And they said, there's not enough fluid there for us to do it. You're better. You're good. And so it was like, okay, we're good to go. So I forced my mother to come to the Bahamas with me. Poor woman.
But she was manifesting anyways, but we didn't, We didn't know how that, what way, but that was the
how that was gonna, yeah, Mama Wendy. So I said, I'm gonna go, but I'm gonna need you to come, because there was no way that I couldn't do a lot of things for myself. I needed a lot of help. So we actually were so blessed to have been able to just charter a plane for my mom and I. So we got on a little puddle jumper and got to the Bahamas. I think I was 2 days late.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was 2 days late, which is when I was meant to be there. I wasn't meant to be there before. I would have got to Bahamas, and I just kept getting worse. And I was napping and like all kinds of things, going to bed early. But things just got harder and harder. And the more I tried to just be myself, the more like inauthentic it felt. And I remember the last day where we watched that beautiful video you made, Tommy. I was sitting in the room with everybody and we were all chatting, and I was just like, I gotta lay down. And I remember just laying down in one of the bedrooms in one of the mansions and just allowing myself to just rest and to be and to sleep. And I just knew in that moment that there's something not right here. Like it doesn't feel right. But I wasn't quite ready to admit that I needed to leave the Bahamas. And then my mama and you made that decision for me on Sunday night. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we did. It was because Kathleen wasn't scheduled to leave until Tuesday. But we were just watching things kind of go downhill, and it was just like, no, she's going to be pissed, but we got to do it. We got to just get her out of here. So
no, I know. I said, I'm not going home yet. Don't you dare. I'm not leaving.
Yeah.
And
I just got here. I'm fine.
Yeah. And then my mom woke me up. I think it was like 6 a.m. And she says, we have an 8 o'clock plane that is leaving for us. All your bags are packed. We're going. And I don't think I fought you. I think I just said, okay. Yeah, I think you're so right. And we got on there and we went straight from the airport to Miami Hospital to the emergency room. And we were seen like almost immediately, which was really beautiful. And they said, we're going to admit you. And I said, yeah, I'm not surprised. And then they said, we're going to do that little drain that we said they were going to do before. And they said, we just don't know if we're going to do it here in the room or in the OR. And when I heard that in the operating room, I went, no, you don't do a drain like that in the OR. So I had a little bit of a feeling, and then 2 surgeons walk in and they introduce themselves as thoracic surgeons and whatever else. And they said that you have 4 empyemas. So for the medical professionals, empyemas are fluid-filled pockets, and they were filled with infection and fibrous tissue. And they were wrapped around my right lower lung lobe, where the pain was, so radiating up my back. And they actually completely trapped my lung to the point where it was the size of a toonie. And they said I was down to about 10% lung capacity.
What's a toonie for non-Canadians?
You don't know what a toonie is? It's a coin about this big.
Wow.
Yeah, probably this big. And they said, there's nothing we can do to fix it, but we have to operate. We have to give you surgery. And I said, oh, okay. When are we thinking? ASAP, tomorrow morning. And so that was a pretty scary moment for my mom and I to hear that.
I know what a toonie is. I'm asking for the non-Canadians who don't know.
Yeah. You guys are going to start sending him toonies in the mail.
Hey, I'll take them.
Yeah. But I have pictures of my mom and I just before going into surgery, smiling and laughing and making funny faces. But the real hard happened when I woke up from it. But, I practice what I teach. So I convinced myself that I was going to be just fine and that everything was going to be okay. I never had a worry that it wouldn't be. And then, of course, we get that beautiful video, if you haven't seen it, of Archangel Raphael. That's my interpretation of that video. The beautiful green wings that were with me on the beach that night. Somebody sent me that right before I went in for surgery. And so it was like, the angels are with me. They wouldn't be with me unless I'm being taken through this. So that was really, really beautiful and really, really helped me a lot. But it was hard to hear, the physician that came in to see me had said that he's surprised that I made it through the weekend. He was, it was my body that helped me to get through that, which is pretty cool because my body, I've been so mad at it for so long. So to be like, look what you did, was really, really beautiful and really, really powerful. But yes, that was kind of leading up. That was leading up to the surgery. And that was May 10th, that surgery.
So leading up to the surgery, like where was your mind at?
I was really at a point where I was trying to figure out, how did I do this to myself? Because I do believe in the law of cause and effect, and the mind controls the body. So for me, it was like, what was it in my thinking that wasn't how it could be to help nourish my body instead of have my body deteriorating, right? And many people were sending me different metaphysical meanings of things with your lungs. So if you look that up, you'll see what the metaphysical meanings were. So I had some idea of some of the things that I hadn't been working through, some of the emotions that I hadn't been processing. But at that point, it was more about, let's just do this and get through it and just, feelings of gratitude. I had no idea what was in store. So I didn't look up the surgery. I didn't look up the recovery. Like, past Kathleen would have done that. I would have been like looking it up and finding out all the info, but I just had this faith going into it that everything would be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and even before you knew you were going to have surgery, I just think it was really interesting to watch this, you guys. Well, number one, just how strong this lady is, knowing after the fact what she was actually going through. We're in this positive mindset world, right? So we're all, at least, the core inner circle of this, company, this team, we're all kind of thinking about what's happening, but we're downplaying it in our mind, right? Because we're focusing on what we would love, not what the, what the evidence of the senses is showing, not what we're, and then Kathleen is handling it like such a rock star. And we also know we want to deliver on this event that we have all these people at. So I just think it's worth like talking about kind of where your mindset was at, because I think most people would have been a mess. Like they would have been completely freaking out and in fear, and you weren't really.
No, not at all. I actually was like telling myself, like, I'm getting better. This is fine. I can do this. I'm good. Like I didn't allow what was going on in my body to convince me that things were wrong and all that kind of stuff. Like, I don't know, even when the doctor, said like, you're lucky to be alive, I was like, really?
What?
It didn't seem that bad.
Yeah.
But then when my kidneys stopped functioning the way they should, I had a kidney injury as well. And, when your organs stop working, there's some issues going on there. Yeah. And so when that started to happen, I was like, I got to just surrender.
Yeah.
It was the biggest surrender, to be quite honest. Like from the moment that I had that surgery until I think I'm still surrendering to it. My mind is firing up a little bit more now, but it's the greatest surrender of my entire life. I had an entire business and team and retreat, and we had an event. We had a Imagine event coming up, and I just have to say it's all going to be okay and let it all go. Yeah.
So surgery happens and you wake up, and then
worst experience of my entire life. Absolutely. Without a shadow of a doubt. Nobody tells you about, they tell you about the pain from the surgery, pain from the knife, but they don't tell you about the emotional pain that comes with it. And so waking up from that surgery in the ICU with, a PICC line, a catheter, a femoral line, another IV, a chest tube. I could go on and on about all the things that I was hooked up to, but I did not know any of that was going to happen. I had no idea that I would be that incapacitated, that I would be in that much pain, that I was that cold, freezing cold. I couldn't stop shaking, and the pain medication makes you so out of it and feels so weird. And it was horrifying. Yeah. The whole experience was absolutely challenging. And so anybody who knows me, I'm somebody who's always like thinking about the future and the bright side in the fourth dimension. And there was none of that. I was pulled down to the third dimensional world, and I was so distracted by all the pain and the experience that I was having that I just put myself in a trance. I was sleeping or just kind of sitting there trying to not focus on it, or I would just cry. Yeah.
So how did you make it through that?
Having my mom there was super important and super helpful. She came every day and she was just there to help me and support me. So that was really, really helpful. I'm not sure how I would have been otherwise.
Yeah.
Moms are the best. Yeah. But I just, before we went into the surgery, I said to my mom, like, well, what is this outcome going to be? And they had a nurse board on the wall. So they tell you your nurse's name and your doctor's name. And on there, it says patient goals, and it said, feel better. Okay. That's like a mediocre goal. That's like a C-type goal. Like, that's crap. The goal isn't to feel better. Like, come on. I believe in like setting unrealistic goals, making the impossible possible. And I said like, well, what could we do? What would be a better goal? And so I had my mom write miraculous recovery as my goal. So that was what I was focused on, was, okay, let's recover from this in an absolutely miraculous way. And so days would go by and I'd be like, this is not so miraculous. I'd be like crying or freezing cold or in incredible pain and stuff. And I'd be like, it's not feeling miraculous, but I'd be like, but it's okay. It's miraculous. There'll come a day where I say, look how miraculous this is. Maybe it's not today, but it'll happen. And I just focused on the little things, like getting the chest tube out, was one milestone, that sucked something fierce, but was so necessary. The relief after was so much better. And then having my first shower, didn't have a shower for, 6 days or something like that. So being able to have your very first shower or walk with the walker, just little things like that just made it, incremental steps.
Yeah.
And then, leaving the hospital, things like that.
How long were you in the hospital?
I think a week.
Yep.
I think it was almost a week. I don't know. I lose track of time, but I think it was almost a week. And then I had to stay in Miami for 2 weeks with my mom in a condo because we couldn't fly. 6 days. Okay. 6 days. Yeah. And then me and my mom stayed together in that condo while I recovered. I did the daily walk.
Yeah.
It was beautiful to be in Miami, but I was like in a condo in Miami. I wasn't like living the life I used to.
Was it the Four Seasons?
No. But we just focused on every day getting better. And my kids were at home. Yeah. So that was really hard. Not being with them was really challenging and missed them like crazy. I think I was away from them then for 3 weeks, which is the longest that I've been away from my girls. They were so good though. They were at home with my dad and they were just excited. I would get onto Zoom with them and they would be like, okay, bye mom, bye. I'm going to go out with my friends. It all worked out the way it was. And then my mom and I had some good quality time and I really didn't do much. I didn't do much work. You guys ran that event without me.
We did.
And I have never felt so calm, so assured. So I just knew that you guys were just going to do an incredible job. And it was like I was there, but I wasn't, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. Yeah.
Well, I remember when I came to the hospital to visit you that first day, and, the question was that I was talking to your mom about when we walked down the hall when they were moving you, was like, okay, so what's this recovery time like? And I remember, I think she said something like, this could be up to like 6 to 8 weeks of before we could travel. And so I would say it was a pretty miraculous recovery considering it was only 2 weeks or, maybe 3 total. Yeah.
I would say so, honestly. Like, a few days after the surgery, if you had asked me if I would be doing some of the things that I'm doing, like even being on Zoom like this right now, at this point, I would have said no.
Yeah.
But when I started to shift my focus, I wasn't studying, I wasn't reading, I wasn't meditating. I wasn't really doing anything. And I kept saying to my mom, I've got to get back into it. I've got to get my head on straight. And one person pushed me to start reading with them every day. And that was what started to shift me. I was feeling almost like just complacency. Like I wasn't excited for things. I wasn't unhappy, but I just wasn't the way that I am right now, where I get excited about talking about the future and being in gratitude and stuff like that. I was just sad. I felt very sad. What did I read? I finished reading The Law and the Promise by Neville Goddard, the tail end of it. But it's not what I read. It was the act of reading something that moved me in my thoughts in a positive direction. That's the key. It wasn't about learning anything new. It wasn't about anything I didn't already know, but it just shifted my focus away from all the pain I was in to something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now you're back home. You've been home for what, a week or 2?
I don't know.
It's been 2 weeks, I think. So what is starting to come up out of this that you are taking away?
Oh my gosh, there's so many things. I think the biggest learning for all of you, and hopefully you can be introspective enough to recognize it, is the difference between pushing away an emotion or a feeling and processing it and working through it. And so there are several things that have been happening this year that have emotionally upset me, but I did not allow it to. And so I would say, nope, I'm not giving you my energy. I'm not going to let you upset me. I'm not going to let this thing upset me. I'm not going to create a story. And I would tell myself the opposite. But there was still this lingering feeling. There was still this lingering thought that I wasn't working through. And we know that those thoughts that then create emotions in us happen based on our past. So things that have happened in our past create these fears or these worries that have us react in the same way again. And so I was having those reactions again. I've talked about this before where, growing up in high school and in university, I've had this feeling like friends stab me in the back. And it's happened a few times for me. Like in high school, I had friends stab me in the back. And in university, there was friends that would just no longer be my friend and I would never know why. And I felt like, what did I do wrong? And it was this pattern. And so when changes happened in my organization, many of the people that chose to leave were my friends. And so again, I didn't react to it. It was like, I'm not creating meaning. I'm not, yada, yada. And I made the decision that I wasn't going to create that same story, but it was there. The feeling was there and I just wasn't processing it. So it ended up being disintegration in my physical body because of the things that I wasn't working through. So that's one example. There is several things in my life and changes in my life this year that I can't really get into too much, but that's just one small example that I'm giving you. And I will just say that I'm not making anybody wrong. Okay. So I don't want anybody to think that I'm choosing to speak ill will or negative of anyone. I'm telling you my emotions that I didn't process during some situations in my life. So, yeah.
Do you have any like tips or advice for like differentiating between whether you're, stuffing it or suppressing it versus processing it and working through it?
Absolutely. Processing and working through it is allowing yourself to experience that emotion and to really recognize why you are, what is it? Why are you experiencing this emotion? And then to really say, do I really want to feel this way? Do I really want to stay in this emotion? Is this really the story that I want to tell myself? And so I think honestly, during that time, I should have just allowed myself to maybe have a good cry and say, wow, this feels familiar and I don't like it. What is that? And then ask myself, is it really true that, people stab you in the back or people do this or that you've done something wrong to someone or that you're not good enough and people leave you, recognize what those emotions were. And then I can say to myself, you know what? No, that's not true because that's not me. I'm no longer somebody who feels that way, who believes that, who accepts that. And so I could switch the emotion to what I want it to be and tell myself, reframe it in a different way. But I didn't do that. I actually just said, well, I'm not even going to give this my energy. And so by not even giving it my energy, I just suppressed it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What else have you uncovered?
I have uncovered that I have an incredible will to live. And I knew that I can be a little bit stubborn and I'm somebody that if I want something, I will go after it until I get it. And it's the same thing with me going to the Bahamas. I made a commitment and I'm going to hold up to my commitment, even if I don't make it home. So I have strong will. Absolutely. But I have come out of this now just absolutely knowing without a shadow of a doubt, even more than I knew before, what I'm here to do. And, having that angel on the beach with me and experiencing this contrast and experiencing this challenging time, it was all part of the plan of preparing me to be able to help more people, preparing me to be able to be more empathetic and understanding, allowing me to experience adversity and rising above it to be able to help other people who are experiencing adversity or to help other people who are in those moments where they can't read or visualize or meditate or study, and how I can help move that needle for them in a different way. So it's made my destiny I'm liking this word lately. It made my destiny just so much more powerful and so much more strong. And then the elephant in the room, about my body and my health, right? There's lots of different opinions on it. There's lots of different people who think different things. But what I will say is that I know without a shadow of a doubt that I cannot fulfill my mission and my destiny in the vessel that I was in before this. And I need to ensure that in order for me to help the people that I'm supposed to help, to make the difference that I'm supposed to make, I need to be in a vessel that is going to have longevity, that is going to have flexibility, that is going to have health and wellness and all those things. So you won't ever hear me talk about trying to lose weight or anything like that, but you will see me talk about wellness and things like that. Health is a tricky word. Because people think that they know what's healthy and what's not healthy based on what you see with your eyes. But you can't see health. You can only feel it. You can only know it in your mind first. And so for me, it's truly going within and allowing myself to experience emotions and choose new ones, to grow, to develop, but to really, really make sure that I am well in all areas. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you could give Kathleen from, like, let's say 3 months ago advice, what would you tell her? Anything?
Oh, I don't want to necessarily say it out loud because universe likes speed and so do I, but I would probably tell her to slow down a little bit. Yeah. It doesn't have to all happen at one time. Like, you can spread it out a little. Yeah. But I've really started to ask myself, like, what is it that I want to experience in this life aside from things like houses and cars and trips? What is it that I truly, truly want to experience in this world? And I know without a shadow of a doubt, like, after experiencing the sadness again, I had postpartum depression with Reagan. So sadness was part of my daily life. And I almost forgot that. And then when I was in the hospital and with my mom, the sadness was there again. And it was just like this reminder of, this isn't what you want. Like, you want to experience joy and happiness and fulfillment and calmness, and just being able to just be, right? And be no matter what's happening, like, be happy in life no matter what's happening. So to be happy no matter if anybody shows up on my live events, be happy no matter what kind of relationships I have, whether they're good or bad, be happy no matter what my body looks like, be happy no matter how much money I have. And that's my next step in my growth for sure, is to get there. But I had to experience a lot of this life in order to get here. And it's fun. And now I have this absolute, knowing that I'm supposed to be here to help people in this way, through this material, through this way of living and thinking. This is a second awakening for me. My first awakening was in September of 2019 when I first met Bob Proctor, and this is my second awakening. And I'm grateful for it. It's going to take some time, but you're going to see some really good shit coming up the pipe real quick. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you see yourself approaching life differently now?
I am not going to take anybody's shit anymore. And I mean that in such a nice way. Cause I'm a nice person. I have a big heart, but I let people give me their excuses and I take them. And I don't hold people as accountable as I could. And so I think that's going to be the key for me, is just really, really being the mentor that I know is truly in here. The mentor that pushes you a little bit because I know that you have greatness, instead of being like, oh, okay, you're not ready. No, you didn't come to me. You didn't come on my Zoom. You didn't come on my training. You didn't reach out to somebody from my team because you weren't ready. Your fear is telling you you're not ready. You're on here, you're listening, you're paying attention, you're interested because you're ready. And let me tell you this, like after experiencing what I've experienced, I had this overwhelming feeling of, oh my gosh, I have so much more to do. Like I have so much more to do in this life, and I cannot be taken out by this. I can't be taken down. And I'm not a woman that has procrastinated a lot in my life on things. And in the past 2.5 years, I have gone for it. I've been loud and I've been proud, and I've put myself out there, and I've screamed from the rooftops about this material and this knowledge and how it can change your life. But in that moment, it was like, I have so much more to say and so much more to do and so much bigger impact to make. And so if I have that feeling right now, and I've done the work and I've done the study and I've done the growth, I can only imagine how anybody else would feel that's been sitting on the sidelines watching me for the past 2.5 years, to have something like this happen in your life to you. And your first thought to be like, I haven't done a damn thing I wanted to do. I have not lived nearly close the life that I have wanted to live. And if we aren't here to experience a great life, then what are we here for? It's kind of like pointless if you think about it that way. And so each of us is here in these vessels having this human experience because we're supposed to have an impact. We're supposed to help people. We're supposed to do something. And I can say we're supposed to do something big, but that's just relative. What does it mean to do something big? And so I have to do something in a certain way first to then know that I want to do it even bigger next. And so I'm not going to take anybody's shit anymore. I'm going to call people out, and I'm going to expect people to do what they say that they're going to do, because you wouldn't have reached out to me if you wanted me to just let you slide. You reach out to me because I'm operating in a peak state. I am operating on a level of awareness that you desire to operate on. I'm operating on a frequency that you want to be on. That's why you're here. And so it's up to me to then hold you to that, to come up and operate from where I'm operating from, because it's pretty amazing. Regardless of the shitstorm that happens in your life suddenly that you weren't prepared for. And so it's up to us to change and to make a different decision. But I'm here to support you in that, because that's what you're asking for. Yeah. I hope that answers.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and that you kind of already talked about it, but I was going to ask you, like, why did we call this Now or Never?
Oh, I was listening to, we can maybe play the song at the end as we leave. I don't know, we were going to play it on the next event, but I was listening to some music, and a song came on that I hadn't heard in such a long time, from The Greatest Showman. What's it called?
From Now On.
From Now On. And I was listening to that. And in that song, he's talking about, what's the one thing that he says that is so good? He says, tomorrow starts tonight. He talks about now's the time, from this moment on, like from now on, I'm changing. I'm making a different decision. And so your first inclination is going to be like, oh, well, but in the past I do this and I do. No, there is nothing but this moment. Like anything that's happened in the past, anything that you have experienced in your life is only held in your memory. So what if it didn't exist? And what if this moment on right now was the defining moment? And so what starts, what's for tomorrow starts tonight. It starts right now. And so I was listening to that song, it came on, and I was like, you know what? It's now or never, because what's going to happen is if you don't make a decision now to change in this moment, then it becomes tomorrow, and then it becomes the next day, and then it becomes the next day. And then you end up in a hospital bed wishing that you had just been a part of something greater than yourself years ago. And, regret is probably the one thing in my life that I never, ever want to experience. I never want to say I should have done that. I never will say that now, because I know that it's not actually truth, but it starts now. And so that's my feeling, is that, if you're on here and you're watching and you're listening, I hope you're all going to hear it in a different way according to where you're at in your life. If you are somebody that is a part of our courses and our programs right now, I want you to approach it differently starting right now. I want you to approach it with, this is one life. We're only here for a short time. I only have infinite number of opportunities. I only have an infinite number of moments to experience the wonder that is this life. And I'm not going to waste a moment of it any longer. By hearing what has presented itself in my life, it could very well happen to you. And I know many of you have likely experienced that, where things have happened to you or loved ones or people suddenly that was so unexpected. And I would just hate for us to not have given this life our all, and something like that happened to us. I think it would really, really be sad. So if you're in our programs now, let's start approaching it differently. Let's start being more committed to ourselves and our journey and go forward. And if you aren't, and you're somebody who has been following along for a long time and you haven't become a part of our energy, I would just ask yourself, why not? What are you waiting for? And it doesn't mean necessarily with us, but just in life, what are you waiting for? Are you waiting for it to get easier? Are you waiting for COVID to go away? Are you waiting for your job to be done? Are you waiting for retirement? What is it that you are waiting for? Like, we need to stop waiting, and we need to stop waiting right now. And so I love that message from that show, from now on, not from tomorrow morning on, but from now on. So I think, if you're ready to make a change from now on, then just put that in the comments, just put chat, just put now, from now on.
Yeah.
And that can mean whatever that means to you from now on. Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah. And if you're waiting till you're ready.
You were born ready.
Yeah. There is no ready.
No. And I think, I don't even know what that means. What does it mean to be ready?
I think people think that ready means I have all the time, I have all the resources, I have, no other distractions, or maybe, but that's never going to happen.
No. And every single time that you do something that you didn't feel ready for, after it's done, you're like, yeah, I'm glad I did that. Yeah. Every single time. And listen, when you're ready, it's not what you're supposed to do anymore, because you've grown past it.
Totally. If you really got ready, you wouldn't need it anymore.
No. Like, I think about when I first started studying this material in September of 2019. I could have very easily said, I'm not ready. No, I don't have the money. I don't have the time. I got too much going on right now. I'm not ready. But I had this overwhelming feeling of like, I have to be in this energy. Many people will say that it's like, oh, I have to be in this energy. Yeah. Why? Because the energy that you are in helps to influence your energy, which helps you to get up onto that frequency, to be in that peak state. So many of you, I didn't teach for 4 weeks in a row. Like, I teach my private clients twice a week, and I've been doing that for 2.5 years. And I wasn't able to teach for about 3 to 4 weeks. And I started getting these messages like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize how much those lessons and your energy were so inspiring to me and raised me up. It becomes almost like a tool, a tool to help you to stay up. And you can use any of the stuff that we do. We have people who come on every live event that we do. I think that's a great strategy. I think it's brilliant. So how can you just make a different decision today and really bring yourself to a place where you are fulfilled with your life, you're happy, you're inspired, you're empowered, and maybe it's time for another awakening. If you haven't had an awakening yet, well, geez, come in with us and we'll help you. Yeah.
I don't think anyone who gets into this information, like, looking back at it from myself, I don't sit and think like, oh, well, if I had just waited a little bit longer, that would have been a better time. I think about, oh my God, if I could have just done this 5 years before I did it, where would I be now?
Oh yeah.
Not that I'm like regretting or something, but it's like, you never wish that you had waited longer.
No, never. And it's the growth. Like, it's doing something that feels scary, that feels uncomfortable, that actually allows you to grow and allows you to step into that higher level self. And listen, when you're worthy of personal growth and development, that's when you're going to that next place, right? Mm-hmm. Because there are a lot of people who don't even feel worthy enough to work on themselves. They don't see the value in working on their own growth. And so if you're at a place where you feel like you're worthy, but you haven't done a lot of work yet, well, then maybe it's time to have a chat with one of us and see how we can help you to get there. And we have lots of different options. We have lots of different things that we can help you with and support you with. But it's about making the decision that I'm ready to grow. I'm ready to expand. I'm ready to see my life differently, because that's the real beautiful part of it. Yeah.
Well,
I'm just reading some of the chat.
Yeah.
Samantha St. Louis. She used to call me a sorceress, but I'm not a sorceress anymore because she's doing it herself. Right. So this is the other thing is that people have said to me, and someone even said it to me today. You have this superpower, just like so-and-so, you have this superpower, this ability to do X, Y, Z. You're a sorceress, you're magic. Well, if you believe that about me, then you will never be able to have those skills and abilities yourself. And so I would just, take me off the pedestal and realize that I'm the same spirit flowing through the same human vessel. I have the same software. I have the same abilities. I have the same mind. And anything that I'm able to do, you are absolutely able to do. And I'm just evidence of that. I'm just the proof of that. And so this is just another example, another little bit of proof that, we can all do hard things. We can get through it in a miraculous way, and we can come out stronger and rebound. And so this is what I'm choosing. Energy is so powerful. It is all there is. We are all made up of energy. And so the energy can go two ways. You can choose to transmute the energy any way that you want. And I could have chosen to transmute this in a way where I saw this as a setback, or I saw this as something negative that was happening, or it was going to take me a long time to recover from, or, maybe business isn't going to be the same, or maybe life isn't going to be the same. I'll slow down. I won't do this. I won't do that. But no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to transmute the energy into what I truly want and desire to do, which is to make a bigger impact. There is nothing more powerful than the words that I get in my text messages, my inbox, in my email, from people that are studying with us who have changed their lives, who have changed the course of how they see themselves, how they see their relationships, how they see their business, and have turned their entire life around. And there's several examples of this on my own team, but there is thousands of examples of people who have been experiencing this with us for years. And it's all within you. It's just becoming aware of how to see it all. That's all that is. Yeah.
I love what you said, because anybody who's watching you and thinking, oh gosh, like this is, look what she's doing. Just you seeing what she's doing, what Kathleen is doing, and like the fact that you're observing what she's doing is proof that you can do it too. Like, you wouldn't recognize it. You wouldn't even be aware of what she was doing. You wouldn't even see it if you weren't capable.
Yes. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And I got a beautiful message. I don't know if I want to call her out, but I got a beautiful message with a great question. And the question was, okay, so now I'm a millionaire, so already in the physical, and I want to bring in the next level self. So would you say that I use the term multimillionaire? Yes. So that was pretty awesome. That was my favorite message that I've received in a really long time.
Yeah.
I won't say anymore, but honestly, it's about choosing yourself and choosing to create the life that you want. You're used to a lot of things, but you can get used to a lot more ease and flow. You can get used to a lot more confidence, a lot more self-love, a lot more aligned behavior, things like that.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just reading what Dana's saying. Dana just moved into her dream home. I've been watching that. Congratulations, Dana. I'm so happy to see that. Beautiful. Yeah.
So for anybody listening that maybe is thinking, is anyone thinking, let us know in the chat, like, who's thinking like, I need to get up off the fence, or I need to get moving with this project or this thing that I'm here to do?
Yeah.
Anybody having those thoughts?
Yes, Dave.
Yeah.
Dave, come on. And Sam Coleman asked, any recommended books to help with the self? Sam, what I would probably suggest, because books are so incredibly important, but we have so many other resources too. So what I would say is, if you don't know anybody from my team, we have a whole bunch of information that we can give you. So we actually have this landing page where you can fill out and request more information. So you can get some advice, resources, and you can talk about what it means to become part of the Diamond Academy family. So the Diamond Academy family is not just people that are on my team, but the Diamond Academy family is any student that's taking any program with us. I truly feel like we are a family. We are a community where we come together and we unify to make a difference. So Sam, if you don't know anybody from the team yet, I would probably just fill out that website. Maybe Tommy, if we can drop that website for anybody. Yeah, if you want to chat with anybody from the team, you want to get some resources, you want more help, now is the time to do that. So we'll just put it in the chat there, and you can fill that out if you want somebody to reach out.
And the truth is, you can do this by yourself. You really can. You can read the books, you can come to the seminars, the free events, you can watch the YouTubes. You really can do it by yourself. But usually not very quickly. So if you'd like to, let us, help you compress the time a little bit and maybe get going and create the thing that you're here to create on the planet this year instead of in 10 years, that's where we can help you.
Yeah. Yeah. I loved this. I read a quote one day, and I'm totally going to butcher the language of it, but it was like, coaches and mentors and leaders are there to help you accomplish what you want to accomplish with greater ease and flow, faster, and feeling more supported along the process. Mm-hmm. And so, mentorship is something that has been around forever. And anytime that you hear about any of the greatest, most successful people in this world, they always talk about their mentors. They always talk about the people that taught them important lessons. They always talk about the people that held space to help them to step in to be their best. And we've used, I haven't used this example in like probably a year now, mm-hmm. But the Will Smith video on YouTube of him jumping out of the plane. Mm-hmm. He says, the most impactful moment is the moment that you jump out of the plane. But he jumps out of the plane and he's doing tandem jumping. Like he's jumping on the back of somebody else. Yeah. And that made me, like, when I watched that, I was like, that's what we do. We're the experienced jumpers that have jumped out of that airplane over and over and over again, who know how to do it, how to manage it. We're experienced at it. We can land safely. And so we allow you to do it with us until you're ready to do the jump on your own. And to me, that's the best analogy for what we do and what I'm here to do.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. It's a great one. Yeah. All right. Well, anything else?
I think, for me, the biggest lesson that I have learned is that life is a lot shorter than we think it is. I'm reading a book by Michael Singer right now, and I'm almost done it. And he's really good at giving perspective. He's not teaching you a lot of content in that book, but he's giving you perspective as you read it. And the perspective that I've got, with how long this universe has been here and how long this world has been here. Tommy can put the numbers in the chat because he knows I don't. We are here for, if you use the law of relativity, we are here for a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
Literally. And so every single moment that we live is so incredibly important and powerful. And so what can you do to experience that better for yourself? I want you guys to experience the things that I've experienced, that my team has experienced, and the clients experience. And I want to make sure that the experience that my family has and my girls have is the absolute best while they're here, when I'm no longer here. And so for me, I want to live a great life. I'm very open about that. I've always wanted to live an extraordinary life. And now I know that that's here and it's available. There's more extraordinary around the corner. But when I'm no longer here, what's the legacy that I'm leaving? And I want to leave a legacy that goes for a long time through my girls. And I want things to be easier for them. And me doing the work now does that. It paves the way for them to live an easier life and to be able to experience everything extraordinary that we have to offer here. So whoever that is for you, whatever that why is for you, you can do that. When is your next book coming out? The Second Awakening. Becoming the One Too.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I have so much to say. Maybe we just transcribe this call and put it into a book.
I think, that's probably it. Yeah.
Okay. So I hope that helps. Like, however we can help you guys. I truly believe that I experienced this to be able to share, to learn, to grow, to be able to help others. So if we can help you in any way, please reach out to us and let us know. If you are somebody that is new to us and you don't know really what I do and what I teach and what I talk about, get onto the YouTube channel. Tommy's been incredible with that YouTube channel. Get to know me a little bit more and what I do, and then come back to our live events and enter into the idea of tomorrow starts tonight. Now is the time. What does that mean for you, and what's something that you can take action on tonight?